LCK looking for something new from Fly, or if he can find a good spot, return to one of his good old picks.
Well, we'll see. They're back over onto the blue side, and the first thing that they will deny is the Swain yet again. We saw that banned away in Game 1, as well as the Aatrox and the Kai'Sa. So could just honestly repeat those bans and probably be all right to start this off.
Alright, a BBQ banning Haru champion. Suddenly, Sejuani is replaced with Camille. Haru's played Sejuani in the past. It hasn't been outstanding, but in spring season especially, you would say there was a lot of overlap in the champion pool between Haru and Ambition. To me, that counted against Gen G rather than for them, so I'd love to see Haru show us something even more aggressive from the jungle than the picks he's already played this season. 2 jungle bans so far. Closer and closer to a first pick Zoe for the side of Gen G.
We'll see where they want to go. Have the Rakan on the board at the moment, which was pretty huge for Core JJ in Game 1. Setting up those picks. Final ban's going to be the Morgana, so Kai'Sa available at the moment. We saw Ruler attempt to play that versus KT, and it wasn't so good.
Again, the ban of the Kai'Sa is more about denying funnels, so BBQ themselves could go for a Braum Kai'Sa on the red side. We will see a Lulu first pick almost inevitably. That is the power level of the champion. But Galio is open as an answer to it, or the funnel comp to try to trivialize it. So there's multiple different ways that BBQ can approach this first round on the red side.
Zoe in for Fly. Does get that one in his hands, as you were talking about. A pretty good one for him, but often banned. This time, just find it.
Aurelia or Galio or a funnel are kind of the champs you're expecting on the side of BBQ.
How about another Yasuo?
That would be a bit of a surprise. Could be for Tempt again. Could try to outplay the Zoe, but could also be in the bot lane, we should remember. Less bruisers because of the removal of Banner of Command, but they're not necessarily completely gone. And if you see a Trundle, suddenly you have the engaged duo. Very easy for the Trundle Pillar to enable the last breath. Still possible for Trick on the Q to be able to set it up, but they do go for Sejuani as a power pick. Suddenly we move over to the side of Gen G. Very excited to see the jungle pick of Haru, but it's time for the Lovers bot lane first.
Yep, gonna be the Xayah and the Rakan locked in here. Yet again, saw this in Game 1 from Gen G.
Not a flex duo this time though, with Zoe in the mid lane. It will be bot lane duo of Xayah Rakan.
How do you answer? If you're BBQ, seems like it's just going to be a Mundo. Going to get something that the Xayah can't necessarily shred down that rapidly.
I wonder if they'd be just happy enough to leave the Darius open and ban other things. Aatrox already off the board. Looking for jungle and top lane from Gen G. Could definitely ban Cuve's famous Ornn and a jungler if they wish to. There'll be something aggressive up, a Xin Zhao for example, and they'll actually go for the Mundo first. The Mundo counter from Game 1 first in the cannon.
Get rid of that one. Not looking to repeat that performance. Gen G already have 2 of the 5 picks that they netted from that. They want to kind of cut it off there.
Both
Alistar.
MVPs banned.
Yeah. Just trying to cut them off at the head here. So Alistar taken away from Ignar.
New day in game number 3. And Ornn would fit very cleanly for Gen G and can just lane into Mundo and not really give too many Mundos, but let's see what happens on the bans. Could also be a jungle ban. They will ban the Rengar from Haru, who's been defaulting to it when a lot of the top jungle picks are down.
His famed pick.
And wow.
And it's going to be a Pyke ban.
Apparently Ignar gets to have no fun. We appreciate the Pyke ban because the W sound bug is still in the game, despite how fun Pyke is as a champion. Alright, second round for BBQ. We think we have mid, jungle, and top. So bot lane would be the second round. Last picking for Ignar is usually behooved. But they're going to go straight for the Leona, which is the famous lane counter to the Rakan. The ability to follow the battle dance, the reason this has always been a popular pick. And also, you can even force spells out of Fly as well, because at minimum the portal jump to dodge will be required.
Maybe just the Darius yet again here for the side of Cuve.
It couldn't go worse.
You know, probably. I would like to think that. And I'm sure Cuve would like to think that as well. So maybe just a repeat visit here, and it will be locked in for Gen G. So yet again, for that big bruiser in the top lane, and it's going to be the Trundle for Haru.
You feel good about that if you're BBQ, you're forcing him onto a very similar champion. Ignar doing his Cloud Templar tribute. They've already got a jungler, I would say. But for now, flicking around, what we're going to see from the bot lane. It could be a bot lane Yasuo, but Yasuo Leona sounds very one way, so an 80 carry is what you'd think initially. They're saying maybe no 80 carry, maybe a Syndra.
Okay, so Syndra mid with the Yasuo bot, it would seem.
Could also be Syndra bot lane.
It could be Syndra bot.
Interesting.
Trying to get the stuns in. A lot of change CC between her and the Leona.
I wonder. Now,
in 25 seconds.
In the mid lane, you do have the ability to ult, and the portal jump's not going to get you out of it. So, thinking about the matchup, I would think Syndra mid lane, but waiting to see if the confirmation is there.
10 more seconds.
Again, to me, it makes more sense mid lane, but man, Leona and Yasuo really go only one way. Seems risky, but it will be the Syndra mid lane to try to pile on to the Zoe. What does that mean for the bot lane? Because I feel like Gen G have more options in this lane than perhaps BBQ do.
Typically giving the options over to Ruler and Core JJ is how you meet your demise. They have been rather consistent here for
only 164 people did the online vote for BBQ. If you remember, it was 92% Gen G, 8% BBQ, and I don't think a lot of people would have really split hairs about that number. Gen G really rolled over against KT, and at the start of the season, it was very easy to buy into the hype. Every game, Ruler the last bastion of hope. And speaking of hope,
well, that's just going to be a catch coming through here on Core JJ. Get knocked down to about half HP.
Force a summoner out of him. But all that hope was built off one duo, if you think about it, Kilios. Ezreal Tahm Kench, Ezreal Tahm Kench, Ezreal Tahm Kench. And as things have varied, Gen G have looked less impervious to the sort of things came earlier. Ooh, look! An O Gaming fan from France.
They have a Faker jersey.
QV power was shown in game number 1 and certainly waned in game number 2.
I imagine O Gaming is also doing their coverage right now.
Definitely.
Yes,
and I see their tweets all the time.
Likely with Chips and Noir on the broadcast.
I know they're the primary LCK casters, but I believe they get some assistance based on schedule. Shout out to Chips and Noir. Lovely people. Saw them at MSI. And of course, they've come to Korea before. But again, I'm just a bit more skeptical of Gen G than I was a week ago. And part of that is them losing, but also whether they have the multiple strategies required to be able to move with the meta. Because if there's ever been a Samsung Galaxy KSV Gen G boilerplate point, it's they've always had small effective champion pools, and I don't feel like adding Fly to the mix really changes much about that.
It's true. Seems to be fairly similar to Crown, the mastery player. Trick right now just going to be invading onto the Raptors as the ping comes in. Haru pretty aware of this pathing. And Trick only going to get a couple of the small ones. Nice
in the
Ward
mid lane.
River spotting him out.
Double cleanse on both. Again, the only interesting mechanic is that portal jump will not pop damage or anything like that, so the unleashed power will certainly do its work. Change was made a while ago to Syndra, where the Dark Spheres no longer stay on the Rift longer, but there is amplification of damage when you get the full points into the Q. That was the change that was a little while ago now.
Ruler just going to get popped up as Ignar starts cheating forward. Just trying to play as close to Core JJ as he can. He goes on a bit of a walkabout into the jungle.
We had to go on a couple of walkabouts in game number 2 to find any relevance. The zombie pushing after falling horribly far behind 0-4-0 into 0-5-0. We saw on our screens, a little bit more difficult to pull off with Sejuani and Mundo as the jungle and top lane duo. And we got Ghost on the Yasuo. Ghost's got a lot of criticism as a player. We had Ares at the start of the season playing mages. That didn't work out too well for them, so Ghost has come back and maybe trying to get Ares some confidence in solo queue. Ghost has definitely made a lot of critical errors, so seeing if he can pull off the Yasuo will be fun to track.
Well, looking for a potential gank here. As Trick goes in, Ghost dashing forward. Exhaust comes down, jumping in, looking for the stun in on a Ruler. They find it, they'll dive in underneath the tower. That's going to be first blood going over to Ghost. Ignar taking up the turret. We'll take a couple shots, but he'll be able to stay alive. Doesn't even need to pop the flash to get out.
The Project bot lane able to enact that kill. Early exhaust into all-in. Exhaust the summoner spell choice from Ghost. Maybe catching them by surprise. Ruler dies. Core JJ dies. Oh, sorry. Let's start again. Ruler dies, but with heal up, which is awkward.
Yeah.
In that particular scenario, did not actually rate going down. With Exhaust and Ignite, enough combat summoners to take him down. Trying to make a similar play on the top side, but Haru isn't on his comfort. He isn't on the ganking junglers that he's made his name. Rengar even banned to take him out of comfort. Trundle, a little bit harder to enact the turret dive they'd love to make.
Maybe just figuring that with the Ignite coming through from the Leona, that even if he popped the heal, it wouldn't have been enough to keep him alive, and wanted to at least salvage one summoner spell, but hard to say. Either way, BBQ, a strong start as they look for the kill here onto Crazy. No level 6 for the Mundo. He'll just go ahead, flash away. Pillar come down, flash forward from Cube. And one final smack. So Dr. Mundo will be going into the grave. 1 for 1 now on the board. Gen G getting things up.
Important for Gen G to make a cross-map play. I have to wonder if waiting for the Pillar is the right move there. He's probably dead either way, but that's what I would have wondered. In the vision toggle about bot side.
Ghost in the dashboard. Here comes Ignar, flash in just for the guaranteed stun. Poor JJ trying to stop this. Gets the pop-up onto Trick. He's got the tower aggro. Tornado connecting here onto Ruler, and Trick barely limping away with a sliver of HP. They go back in. Ghost looking for some damage onto core JJ. TP being used. Cube looking for the apprehend. Can't get it. The flash away from Trick. Just in time to dodge that one out. Now Crazy going to be alone in the top side.
And people are living dangerously on the Rift on both sides. BBQ getting away from any deaths. The heal from Ruler, just for movement speed, ends up being enough. You see Ruler very animated, talking about the fact that he needs a bit more coverage on the bot side than he's getting. Cuvée gives up a pretty big lead. And you can see a cannon minion wave, which I guess is the right time to roam, but not ideal for him to miss the entirety of. Mundo will back off. A lot happens on the Rift. Definitely feeling a bit of fire that was lacking in game number 1.
Cuvée will go back. He'll catch the majority of the next wave at least. Stay even with Crazy, but blowing the TP. The right move, you would have to say, but cannot get the kill there on the Trick. The apprehend just so very close.
You have to wonder, he would have got the information, or you'd hope you get the information that flashes up. Maybe you cancel it. It was obviously a fantastic start, and he was thinking of, as we always do, the multi-kills on the Darius. But
I'm calling it the right move because of how so close it was.
It's fair.
Could have played that one on either side of the point.
And there's always percentages, right? If you're 80% to get a kill, or you are very likely to dominate your lane harder if you stay, maybe it's actually better to give up the almost guaranteed kill to keep dominating lane. Those percentages always evolve and are very situational based on information. Boots 2 for both top laners. The Mundo needs health items to contest with the Darius and has a nice start after the gank coming in from him.
Now, though, taking a look at the mid lanes, it's been pretty quiet over there. It's going to be temped up a bit in CS. Just got the blue buff, I do believe. Haru sitting nearby will come charging in now for JJ. Finds the pop-up there onto Ignar. Does not have the flash available. He'll dash to the side. Redemption coming down just for an added little bit of damage, and Haru is able to get the kill. 2-1 now. Gen G taking the lead. Both kills and gold. They'll find that control ward and clear it out. Trick just not nearby.
If I'm Haru, I set up a tent in the bot lane and just keep camping it. You're against no flash Leona, a lane that can only all in and doesn't have an exit plan. That's the minion wave behind it for the Yasuo. They have no cleanse on either of the members, and Ruler and Core JJ have so much CC. It is basically a free kill every time he visits the lane. If they can stick a control ward, I really don't see how you lane as Yasuo or Leona. That's why I'm not a big fan of the duo that's been put down by BBQ.
It was a nice start, but Gen G gonna have a lead, but it's still dangerously close here for them. Just 300 gold separating at the moment. As Cuvée tries to regain control of this top lane. Ninja Tabby already completed, and Crazy also has that stopwatch ready to go, so kill pressure from Cuvée gonna be very non-existent.
Crazy's just so safe. Farming with Q, such as Mundo. Mundo, in team fights, also has the lovely synergy of running at fly. Mundo versus Zoe, one of the few ways to answer Zoe compositionally in the late game. Spirit Visage and some health items means that Zoe's very frustrated because she would love to be trouble bubbing and paddle starring other people. But the game can be decided before that phase. We've seen Mundo get shut down, but I would say overall, he's been getting through laning phase more often than he's been fully shut down by someone like a Darius. One of our most common top lane matchups in Summer 2018.
Oh, Infernal Drake. Not going to have any attention paid to it at the moment. A couple wards in the vicinity, but outside of that, not a whole lot to talk about. Fly getting poked down here by Tempt.
Used the ult, but the exhaust was there from Fly. It's picked up, thrift shopped, pirated, depending on how you want to use the language there. Fly continues to just try to stay competitive in this lane. Not an easy one. Zoe's range usually makes her a more fearsome proposition as the game goes on.
Trick wrapping his way around, maybe looking for a gank here. No flash available to close the distance, but does have the Glacial Prison up. In the meantime, very safe now on the bottom side of the map with the double control ward. One in the river, one in that dry brush. Fly's gonna jump forward here. A bubble in, Cleanse comes out now. And we found out here as Trick comes forward. Sapola hit, Glacial Prison comes down, but Cube was on the roam to help keep him protected.
Leona with the style points.
Another Hex Flash.
Hex Flash for fun.
He really likes using these.
He does. Hex Flash is a very common pickup on the Zoe. First person I saw doing this was, I believe, Maple at MSI, and the reason for that is that it does proc the W that you max second now on the Zoe, so very, very common is the choice there. As any summoner gets you that extra W damage. It's a side point about Zoe, as you guys were wondering, but in this particular game,
the more you know.
The transfer of power bot lane is always pretty significant. If the wards are there, I think Genji hold all the aces. If Leona's sitting in a control ward and they don't expect her, then she holds all the aces.
Oh, Vision just going to be fought over here in the river. Scuttle Crab also getting ready to come up. So Trick's actually going to stick around for that. Does cancel the back. Moves a bit further away. Seems like with the Scuttle Crab now spawning, might have a bit of a fight over this.
The Infernal control is always relevant. Again, we give the reliability edge to Genji, but the CS advantage and some of the trading patterns have gone the way of BBQ.
Let's start this up.
Trying to brute force it. Leona seems to be out of wards, unable to impact, so this will get boots mobility and ends up being a freebie for Genji.
Yeah, Trick had gone back to base, so no way to contest this one, so early objective here over Genji. Continuing with the advantages. Ocean Drake going to be the next follow-up dragon here.
And for Ruler to
shove Ghost back.
Ruler to be competitive with Merc treads and you know nothing. A Cull lets you know that the laning phase has been relatively comfortable for him. Getting Yasuo and babying him through a laning phase not terrible either by any means. But feels like a lot more options for Genji around the bot side. Haru, for now, has had to deal with Trick jungling extensively with Leona, and the Sejuani Leona is CC for days, and thus he's given up his bot lane tent idea I proposed earlier. Mundo, we checked in on earlier, is doing just fine on the top side. Cube building for lane, Mundo just building standard means pretty even between the two.
A lot of damage onto the turret though, so Cube he's coming up trumps in that regard. Yeah, crazy.
Optimistic, you would say.
Gonna go pretty aggressive here, ult down from Cube just to further dissuade him, but still gonna be pretty healthy. In the meantime, Haru starting up the Rift Herald. Nobody really nearby on this side of the map, so it seems like even with the ward thrown down by BBQ, he should be able to solo that one out. Trick's in the bottom lane.
We're down the wind wall just to stop the pass-through damage from the feathers to clear the wave. Not going to be enough to hit the turret yet for the side of BBQ, but they know exactly where Haru is, so they're very confident making this play.
Could just go ahead, try to summon up Rift Herald into the top side, get that guaranteed hit to get the first brick before they can take it in the bottom lane.
That's the race we're seeing. That's why you see Sejuani staying bot side for so long.
Dangerously close. Windwall cooldown, however, is quite long this early on.
Haru doesn't go top side. Channels back, but will stop it because he knows Trick is only now hitting the Rift, and he will win the race to top side. Item timing seems a bit kinder to Fly, who already has all of his Ludens and just Sorcerer's Shoes and the Lost Chapter on the side of Tempt.
Decided to go in for the boots, which Fly just doesn't have yet.
It's respect shown versus no respect shown. And G push up in bot. Very tense game. Been able to answer a lot of the turret damage. A little bit of a lead for BBQ, but not much on the bot side. And the Rift Herald does really represent the looming threat of 3 out of turrets going down very swiftly for the side of BBQ.
Recall coming out. Be back to base there for Tempt. And Rift Herald going to be summoned. This is in vision. But not sure if there's that much BBQ can do about it at the moment here for JJ. Sitting forward, spots out Trick.
As Syndra is backing, so the timing here is excellent from Gen G. And goes against the bonus laning phase. This is a really good rotational play coming through from Gen G. That's sort of well-drilled stuff we expect from them.
Yeah, here comes the next charge. A lot of damage in, already knocking that turret down to half. No more minion wave. They'll just leave it at that.
Such a counterpoint to the woeful play they made, giving up 5 kills between 2 turrets in game number 2 to make that smart a proactive rotation that had basically 100% certainty of coming through with the Syndra backing. Really nice stuff from Gen G. It's also no risk because there was no chance of anyone falling low or even engaging a fight. Clean play, and they just drop back to bot side, losing the bot lane turret, but overall making an advantageous trade.
Yeah, not that bad. They get the first brick, and they also have top and bot turrets already prepped for the most part to be taken, so might just be able to go up 3-1 very swiftly. For now, though, it's going to be Leona and Yasuo rotating up towards the top side of the map.
You say rotating. Ignar is definitely unspotted to start, but with the Yasuo revealing himself. That sounds dirty. There was no reason for him to overstay in the brush.
I didn't say expose.
Yes, that would have been much worse. Well, sliding scale of naughtiness with those words. Again, if you just take away the video and just crop the audio, we do sound like very weird people talking about murder and death.
There's a lot of...
oh, good! He killed more people quickly. It is very dark.
Yeah.
Whoa! Syndra out-damaging Zoe. That's pretty cool.
Did see Fly taking a lot of poke mid lane.
Ghost has free-farmed, but Ruler has farmed his way to a Stormrazor. So that's a bit of a trade there. Stormrazor, we always have mentioned, is buffed on this patch 8.12 and does represent the one-item power spike that crit 80 carries have lacked. So what happens now? Feels like both teams have legitimate reasons to look for a fight. The catch starts with a Sejuani and ends with a Syndra ultimate, and 5v4 will be developed, and you have Yasuo to team fight more significantly from there. But BBQ can be baited. Summoners up on Ignar and Ghost is such a different proposition to Summoners being down. To me, it's can Gen G force out an even fight with a Summoner trade and then set up for objectives, because then they should have a lot of advantages as the melee champions have much more risk.
Oh, standing on vision right now is Core JJ and Ruler. Gank coming through. Ignar not going to find the stun, not going to find the Zenith Blade either. TP in the meantime coming up to the top side as Cube looks to join in. Haru pushing forward, pops the W, looking for a pillar target to lock them down long enough for the apprehend to come in, but not going to find it.
I believe Tempt had to cleanse a trouble bubble, but he certainly used cleanse.
Stun in on to Fly, who is no doubt just going to be sieging over the wall here with these paddle stars, trying to push BBQ back away from the turret so they can take their second of the game. It seems like it's going to work a trick here.
The turret. Crazy decided to stay mid lane. Realized there was no way of salvaging, and walking second past the Darius didn't sound like the best idea. Second turret to Gen G. We already know that bot lane turret is a stiff breeze away from falling as well. Item timings here will be very intriguing, as Yasuo has an established 2-item spike, but without some kills, it's going to take a while to get to Infinity Edge. 3,600 gold after the 100 gold discount, right? So graciously opted. 3% off is not usually what gets me to buy something more often, but there you go. Every percentage matters.
Yeah, it adds up.
I will push through the mid lane. Not double magic pen, as we often see with the Oblivion Orb. Did go for the Merc Treads for a more respectful buy against Syndra. Always been a pretty core rush against Syndra, given that you can't fit magic resist into the build as much anymore. What now for Gen G? They make the smart plays. They should have more options than BBQ that are really only about the team fight. And the Ocean Drake is a freebie, so Take all the freebies you can get before you have to cash in your chips.
Yeah, why not? Go ahead, pick that one up. Second dragon of the game. Another Infernal on the way. So that could certainly spice things up in the next 6 minutes.
I welcome the spice.
So do I. You and I both do like spicy foods quite a lot, so.
Sometimes
Spice is always
Korea's very strange because they'll do spice on a scale, 1 to 5.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can handle the 4, and sometimes the 2 is just insanely spicy.
I've had that before. Ruler. Very curious about
the
this
one
brush.
more wave that 80 carries greed for.
Maybe it was just one more minion. Core JJ now.
Oh.
Split. That's going to be the Fez Storm coming up. No ultimate's going to be connecting onto him. Be quite safe. Pop up coming through in onto Trick. Windwall trying to keep him alive as Core JJ goes in with the quickness. Pillar now as Haru and Fly both arrive. Sleepy Trouble Bubble in onto Ignar. Battlestar connects. He's one hit from dead. Ignite might just take him down, but Haru will flash forward. Gets the club shot in. Takes him down. Now Ghost having to flash away. As everybody from BBQ retreats. Gen G find another kill.
Guanio on point, but also the escape clearly expected by Roller, who was already playing respectfully. The feathers might have gone the wrong direction, but him being able to dodge the skill was all that mattered. I continues to walk up. Gets a ward into the most advanced brushes. Trick for a second doesn't focus on his
very
champion.
delayed reaction there from Trick, but had it been anybody else alongside Fly, he would have been dead, but Core JJ not going to have the damage necessary to take down the Sejuani.
Get some siege time in, because they know Sejuani is wasting time healing up in the fountain. Only recently was the home guard buff once again re-enabled in this game. Crested 20 minutes. A very interesting passage of the game where big items are close to being finished but aren't. Infinity Edge, like we mentioned, the Convergence probably on the next back, you would imagine, from Core JJ with a Storm Razor that's already pretty formidable. Darius has been sitting on the Trinity Force for a while. Crazy himself. We know the Warmogs, usually when you take off, or the Spirit Visage on the Mundo. So the race to 2 items. There's a 3,000 gold lead. Do you think it'd be won by Gen G?
He's jumping around, getting some autos in, dodging as much damage as he can. Still a ways away from that next dragon coming in. So no double Inferno yet for Gen G, nor solo pickup for BBQ.
Damn, that Warmogs came out of nowhere. He just had a Ruby Crystal.
Pops that one up. Trick coming over the wall, but no one really near that Glacial Prison. The ultimates have not been that great from him in this third game.
Sejuani in the meta does lead to lots of amusement.
His targeting system is a bit off.
He has plenty of friends. Again, it's a very questionable Sejuani ultimate already. On the recent resurgence of Sejuani, which wasn't just around the buffs. We saw it on 8-11, but now firmed on 8-12. With that ult down, though, Gen G feel much stronger in multiple roles to walk up and look for a siege on the already low health mid lane turret. Turret HP war definitely being won by Gen G.
Haru just poking around the backside to trade out a couple of these wards. In the meantime, Ruler just trying to push forward. Already had this turret prepped with a bit of damage from the Rift Herald.
Haven't mentioned Cuve's Darius at all this game. Hasn't been slain, but hasn't necessarily been slaying either.
Yeah.
Kind of been kited in most team fights, and Mundo now has 2 items, doesn't care as much in the side lane.
Sort of had that one, the TP moment. Nearly had the kill, but outside of that, it's just sort of existed as crazy.
Uninteractive gameplay is what they're looking for. They want the Infinity Edge.
All right, that's going to be the apprehend now as they look for Temp. He's just going to go down, it looks like. Nope, never mind, limps his way out. Bleed's not going to be enough to finish him off, it would seem. He doesn't fall dangerously low. In the meantime, Crazy comes into the back line. Finds the kill there onto Core JJ. Double Bubble not going to connect onto Mundo. Actually comes in onto the cannon minion, and he is just going to be running at Haru. So, I mean, we're talking about them not being that involved. Suddenly, they're showing up. Apprehend pulls Crazy further in. Gen G now going to be shoving BBQ back towards the tower.
Very little knock-up synergy, so no way for Ghost to use the last breath. Temp didn't have the ability to get to the team fight either, so just a 1-for-0, no objective picked up. The side of BBQ. Well, JJ went in too far. He didn't have Zeke's Convergence at the time, so not like Ruler could be rocking anyone with his damage, so Just pull away. I think BBQ are going to be happy with kills. Any extra investment into Ghost getting his Infinity Edge is what they're craving right now. Sitting on a BF sword for the best part of 3 minutes.
Doesn't get an assist, so not going to be finding anything off of that kill onto Core JJ, but it's been all right so far. Deathless on the Yasuo. Hasn't been that many people dead, just with the 3-2 scoreline.
In the game of life, 5 kills in 24 minutes. And we and ah, we go through ebbs and flows when the meta is changing and every team for the first time is playing 8-12, where I'm sure BBQ would like some banners of command. In both Game 2 and Game 3, won't be able to pick them up any longer, so sieging is a bit more difficult. It's more about teamfight initiation and a bit more about the spells that have missed than the spells that have hit in this game number 3.
A lot of Sedge spells.
Look at Yasuo. He's actually gone for the commitment build.
Yeah, he went the Guardian Angel second.
I'm not sure I would have done that, but I guess the thought is Leona and Yasuo can really only initiate. They don't have a lot of options, so at least when they initiate, they feel good about it. Gen G looking for the third Drake of the game. Will be a second Infernal, and BBQ more about setups top side than countering this Infernal.
For a second, I thought BBQ was going to try to threaten the Baron as the Infernal was going down, but no such rotation to be found. So second Infernal just going to go over Gen G. It's going to be a Cloud Drake as our fourth and final before the Elder shows its face on the Rift. Now the pings are coming out from Gen G, maybe looking to force something around the pit.
This is such DPS loss going for the GA that you wonder if sitting on a stopwatch and an Infinity Edge would have been more of the percentage play. Does mean he has a full item earlier, as it didn't seem like Infinity Edge Gold was going to be there. But it means that Ghost and Ignar can Rambo at the enemy. Maybe it's worth it.
Oh, fly. Flash out of there. That's going to be his actual flash. Lock them up, but not going to be finding any kills. Barely get that much damage in onto him.
Ultimate was optimistic from Trick, and once again goes wide, so they can't force anything. Trick will jump over the wall, he'll disengage, but no one moves forward. Minions start to push forward for the side of Gen G. We return to normalcy again and start rolling up new items to the inventories of basically everyone on the Rift.
$4,300 gold ahead, so nothing monstrous by any means here for Gen G. They've had control for so long. You expect them to be able to just starve out BBQ in this game.
Haven't really been able to register any poke, haven't really been able to change the game state. Don't really have someone to focus target on like they could BBQ in game number 2, that was Cuvée. So everything's a bit more measured. And for BBQ, with more melee champions, they're being very respectful. The vision game by Gen G is predictably all about lighting up the red side jungle and turning on to Baron. But their Baron damage isn't outstanding at this present juncture in the game, so the game is extending and extending, and probably will be decided in one big fiery team fight.
.5 minutes. Gen G versus BBQ delivering some of the longer and slower games that we've had so far in the summer split. A lot of these have been very rapid.
Second game was memorable, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, that fight in bot was certainly one of the things that I'll remember till the end of my days. While trying to deny any poke coming through onto this tower, but it seems like it's just going to be an inevitability here for Gen G to take this one down. TP
very deep,
pretty deep. This Crazy comes into the backside, fly, cleanses off the Leona ult. Crazy going to arrive now. This person does connect this time onto Haru. For JJ dashing to the side, looking for the pop-up. Not going to find him. Crazy just going to be bled out here. Has the ultimate though. Sustained up as well as the Warmogs. So he'll be okay. It seems like both teams are just going to go their separate way.
Bit curious to use Mundo like an Ornn when it comes to the deep teleport, because his soak means nothing when no one else is committing.
Yeah.
They don't have any knock-up synergy, so Yasuo couldn't even join him in the back line.
They're waiting in the darkness here.
Mundo
Gen G should know.
Mundo no ult means it's a lot more risky a proposition.
Still going low. Sidra stun going to connect there for the Scout of the Week. Haru's going to be fine, and the turret will be broken. Gen G finding their 5th of the game. Now move to 5,500 gold in the lead just about.
Really need a dive buddy, and Yasuo having to self-serve up the knock-up short of some crazy flash Q from the Sejuani is not fantastic for the side of BBQ, and that's why Mundo was left stranded. Didn't have to use his flash or anything too big, but lose the objective, back away, approaches come through, and now we're a recipe away from Ruler in 3-item territory with the Infinity Edge on that Xayah.
Big wave here in the mid lane. Ruler is going to be more than happy to go ahead and catch this. Stacking up as he gets closer to that Infinity Edge. Poor JJ just plays forward. Keep his eyes on the members of BBQ here.
No Spirit Visage from Crazy, doubling down on his health in combat. A smattering of magic resist coming through from the Negatron Cloak that builds into the Gargo Stone Plate that he has. Finally, BBQ walking up, but their siege is, yeah, it's pretty woeful. It's just
Can't
Syndra.
really get much done. Just constantly throwing out those orbs, trying to push for some sort of stun, but even then, not going to be finding a whole lot of anything, and they have to respond to Cube split push in the bottom side of the map. 3 members nearby, so we could get the lockdown here onto the Darius, but Cube's already retreating.
Not the play to ARAM mid lane. You have to look for a team fight. You have to look for control wards and objective if you're going to be the team of BBQ. There is no threat in walking through mid. Watching here is Gen G. They can't know they're on a ward. Ignar.
This is how things fell apart last time. Ult's coming down, finds the lockdown onto core JJ, as well as Haru. He's going to get locked in. Shield comes through, however. Ignar goes low. Trick goes golden, trying to stay alive. TP just now being completed by Cube, and Ruler will just pop the Sejuani. No smite available. Gen G might just turn straight onto the Baron.
Crazy's not there. He doesn't get into the fight, and there is no threat from Ghost. They're getting nothing out of him. He might as well be zoned out of these fights. They're onto the Baron. How does BBQ react? They have no smite.
Double bubble in onto Ghost. He's going to get locked up. Baron down below half. No smite. They need a miracle steal to try to make this happen, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen here. Baron goes low. Smite comes through. It's good. Haru picks it up. Now the engage comes back in. Crazy in the front line. Still huge here on the Mundo. The Storm comes in. Tempt flashes away. Blade Caller not going to catch him. Genji still on the chase. Seems like BBQ will be able to make it out with their lives, but they lose the Baron.
Guy of the week, really big there. Stopped any more chase, but the Baron going to Gen G is still a big news story. That's a big pickup for them after BBQ mismanaged around the team fight. BBQ going to get a consolation, but a 32-minute Cloud Drake is certainly nothing to hang your hat on. We're exposed a little bit. They're finding it really hard to get any value out of Ghost at all in these fights. And he needs to do heavy lifting on damage. All they have is Syndra outside of that.
He went for the Guardian Angel, but hasn't been able to get into a position where he can go deep to try to get the pop.
I think you have to go against your AD carry roots and start queuing minions and flash queuing for AoE knockups yourself. You have no knockup synergy outside of the Sejuani queue. That is a big, big problem. They're going to open with Leona, and the Yasuo are not in range and not with the third queue up. It just feels like the Yasuo's not there. He might as well be split pushing at that point. Genji push through. Their siege is much better. They have Zoe. They also have the Trundle Pillar and the Xayah. See if they can break the base on the first Baron.
For Battle Stars, trying to throw him in, but doesn't have enough distance. But in the meantime, final inner turret going to be taken down here in the bottom side of the map, 6-1 in that regard. Gen G, so much of their gold has just been from these turrets that they've been able to amass on the scoreboard here. Pushing in bot and mid simultaneously. Crazy should be able to hold Cube at bay.
Good news for BBQ is top lane is heavily pushing out, so
yes,
they're not under a 3-lane pressure. In fact, yeah, it's going to be a slow push the way of Gen G. Watching slowly as Gen G try to break the base. They're walking up. Trick already knows he's not that tanky, and the wind wall's not in front of the turret.
Yeah, not great, and neither is that Glacial Prison. Not going to find the lockdown. Banshee's Veil not even going to get popped down to fly, and that's going to be the turret going down. Inhibitor now exposed and should be destroyed shortly thereafter. Gen G, we go ahead and try to close things out here. Get as close to as it can with this Baron. 55 seconds remaining. Second inhib, going to be exposed. Stun comes in, but no follow-up to be found here for the side of BBQ. Bled dry very slowly on this Baron empowered push from Gen G.
Feels like they're watching this game slip away from them. It's not like Gen G have played immaculate. It's been very, very even between the two squads, but sort of game where you feel like Ghost might end at 1-0-0 on the Yasuo now with 3 items. Went very conservative with his item build, or very Rambo with his item build, but his conservative positioning has meant that he had an item that helps him live longer, but he's also living longer by not committing. The win wall around the mid lane turret needed to be better, sort of thing that experienced Yasuo players will be able to look at and laugh a little bit, because he should have been able to delay the turret take. Them losing 2 inhibitor turrets there was probably more than Gen G deserved, and now Gen G can just turtle up, take the next Baron, and end the game with it.
If it even comes down to that, they have so much pressure getting ready to be moved onto the base. Next Baron going to be a ways away, but Elder Dragon might be the pickup that they need. Go ahead and close this one out. Double Infernal Drake will benefit quite nicely with that, as well as the triple stacks that they were able to get. But yeah, plus 7,600 off of that Baron. You can see now over 10,000 gold in the lead is Gen G. BBQ, so very close, able to tie things up, bring us to this game 3, but seems like they're going to fall short of the finish line.
Definitely not a lot of difference between Gen G and BBQ over 3 games, however this game ends, which concerning for a Gen G team that were 4-0 not too long ago.
Okay. Almost went 4-2, but seems like it is not going to be on this day.
They will not be going to Rift Rivals after slipping to 5th, so the world champions will not be represented there. Trying to prove a point. Speaking of proving points,
T-Mage just getting a bit of damage there on to Crazy, but he's going to be perfectly fine. In the meantime, Haru still inside the base, going to get locked down. No last breath to be seen, even though Haru goes dangerously low. Ghost is not going to be pulling the trigger. Now he's going to look to go aggressive. He's charmed up there by Core JJ, finds the last breath in onto the Rakan. He'll dash away, but the unleashed power from Temp does take him down. But in the meantime, they're losing that final inhibitor. All 3 going to be broken now.
he gets the target acquisition, but it's so late, like you mentioned. Giving up the 3rd inhibitor might as well be a death sentence too. Either being able to protect this Baron in 1 minute 50, or being able to come back. Stranger things have happened. We've seen turnarounds from having 3 inhibitors down. Not as recently as the Afrika Freaks in Game 2 against Hanwha Life Esports on the weekend. This one seems a little bit more done and dusted as, well, that's a lot of damage from Cuvée. He loves playing these top players like Gnar and the Darius and just saying, well, why not damage?
Yep. Still holding on to that stopwatch. Hasn't had to use it at all. But, I mean, basically for Gen G right now, it's take your pick. You've got an Elder Dragon here in less than a minute. The Baron right afterward could just sweep right through, get both objectives, and then close out the game from there.
Gen G likely to take down BBQ today. Their strength of schedule this week, they face Jin Air in a match they should win, but they end the week against the Afrika Freaks in one of the 2 final series before Rift Rivals. That'll be an interesting one. See how Afrika's looking in our next game of the day.
Yeah. It'll definitely be a test for both of them, depending on how Afrika does versus Jin Air Green Wings.
They're both stumbling. Afrika have lost 2 in a row. Gen G may go on to win this series, but they certainly wouldn't be proud of their play over the past 2 series, so they're in pretty equal spots when it comes to momentum. Still waiting to see one glimmer of hope, one big ultimate to come through from the Yasuo, and kind of the most sobering realization is there's not even an exhaust on the side of Gen G. So theoretically, the Yasuo should pop off if you can ever, just ever RSVP and attend this knockoff party.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen. What will happen, though, is an Elder getting taken here to buff up the double Infernal that Gen G have. And with the Baron spawning in 1 second, they can just go ahead, rotate over, take both objectives. So it's going to have to be do or die time here from BBQ. Call coming through from Ignar. They will go ahead. They will melt this down.
Yep.
Very rapidly. The blast cone going to be destroyed. They just have to surrender it.
We're definitely not putting any faults on BBQ for trying to get to these objectives. Now, initiating a mid lane and giving up a 3rd inhibitor was the reason this is impossible.
Yeah.
So now Gen G have got a little bit of everything, and those feathers are going to be very, very fearsome with an extra 24% damage and the burn of the true damage 3-stack coming through from the side of Gen G.
What's the split record again for longest game?
It was 47 minutes, 48 minutes around there.
It
Don't think
should
it's going
not
to go that
It
long.
should not go that long.
This feels like a 42.
Yeah, should be able to close this out before the Baron is done, maybe even the Elder Dragon. Pressure is lessened a little bit here since the mid and bot inhibitors have respawned. Still 2 minutes on the top, however.
42-22, that's where I'm at. What are you thinking, Achilles?
About 43.
All right. Not quite Price is Right gouging territory of close, but pretty close. Here we go. Darius brings out the second minion wave. They need the 2 to actually have some map pressure onto BBQ. Will only be 2 waves.
I'm already regretting my decision. Juve, though, chunking out that bot and him. The rest of the team hasn't really gotten a position for the mid-1 yet again. Ult gonna go wide there on the Glacial Prison. Lockdown in onto Haru. Going golden is Ignar. He has to flash away to try to make it out alive, but that's gonna be Core JJ going in, just wrapping them all together. A nice little present here for the remaining the other members of Gen G. A double kill going over to Cube, finally arriving here, and we were both quite off as Temp just gets annihilated by Ruler. Nexus turret's going to melt. The Nexus going to follow suit as Trick looks on from the fountain. Everybody on his team dead.